Become the person who attracts you ceases. Success is often spoken of as a destination, a reward waiting at the end of long effort, discipline, and struggle. But in truth, success is not an object placed somewhere in the future. It is a response to the state of consciousness we live in now. Life does not bring success to those who merely desire it. Life reflects success to those who have inwardly become compatible with it. What you experience outwardly is always a mirror of what you are consenting to inwardly, and until this is understood, success will appear random, elusive, or unfair. Most people attempt to attract success by working harder, thinking faster, or pushing themselves further, yet they remain inwardly anxious, divided, and uncertain. This inner contradiction sends a message that cancels their outer efforts. Success cannot rest where there is constant inner resistance, self-doubt, or fear of failure. When the inner life is unsettled, no amount of external action can produce lasting results because the foundation itself is unstable. The first step in becoming a person who attracts success is learning to withdraw attention from appearances. Circumstances do not have creative power, they only reveal the quality of awareness behind them. When you stop reacting emotionally to conditions and begin to observe them quietly, you regain authority over your experience. In that quiet observation, you discover that peace, clarity, and confidence are not things you earn, they are states you allow. From these states, action becomes effective without strain. Success is drawn to those who are inwardly complete, not to those who are desperately trying to fill a lack. When you act from need, your actions carry tension. When you act from inner fullness, your actions carry power. The world responds to calm conviction far more than to anxious effort. This is why two people can do the same work, yet only one seems to attract opportunities, support, and progress with ease. To become a person who attracts success, you must practice inner consent to harmony, order, and trust within yourself. This does not mean ignoring challenges, it means refusing to let challenges define your inner state. When difficulty appears, you do not fight it emotionally, you meet it with awareness. That awareness dissolves confusion and allows right action to arise naturally. There is also a discipline of letting go involved. Many block success by clinging to old identities, the identity of struggle, limitation, or unworthiness. Success cannot attach itself to a self-image that secretly believes it does not deserve expansion. As long as you carry the memory of past failures as a personal label, you silently reject the very good you seek. Freedom begins when you release the need to define yourself by what has already happened. When inner alignment is established, effort becomes lighter and results become more consistent. You find yourself guided into decisions that feel timely, conversations that open doors, and opportunities that appear without force. This is not luck, it is resonance. Life arranges itself around the person who is inwardly aligned with success because alignment removes resistance. Ultimately, success is not something added to your life, it is something expressed through you. When you become steady, receptive, and inwardly assured, success flows as naturally as breath. The moment you stop chasing it and start embodying the consciousness that allows it, success recognizes you and responds accordingly. Success is commonly misunderstood as something that exists outside of us, something to be reached, acquired, or captured through constant effort, but in reality success is a response to the inner state we consistently embody. When a person believes success is separate from them, they naturally spend their life chasing it, measuring themselves against outcomes and feeling either validated or defeated by external results. This chasing creates a subtle inner tension, a sense that fulfillment is always somewhere else, and that tension itself becomes the barrier that keeps success at a distance. Life responds not to desire alone but to alignment. Desire without inner readiness produces frustration, while alignment produces movement. When your thoughts, expectations, and self-concept are harmonized with success, it begins to show up naturally, often in unexpected ways. This is why some individuals seem to attract opportunities effortlessly, while others struggle despite working harder. The difference is not in talent or intelligence, but in consciousness. Success gravitates toward those whose inner world quietly agrees with its presence. To say that success responds to who you are becoming means that your habitual state of awareness determines what can enter your experience. If you internally identify as someone who is always waiting, struggling, or proving themselves, then success feels temporary or unstable when it arrives. On the other hand, when you begin to see yourself as capable, grounded, and inwardly sufficient, success finds a stable place to rest. The world mirrors back this self-recognition in the form of progress, support, and expansion. Becoming is a subtle process. It does not require forcing positive thoughts or pretending confidence. It requires honest inner alignment. As you release fear, comparison, and the need for constant validation, your actions become clearer and more effective. You no longer move from desperation but from direction. This shift changes not only what you do but how you do it, and the energy behind your actions is what life responds to most strongly. Success cannot be sustained where there is inner conflict. When you secretly believe that success will cost you peace, relationships, or identity, you unconsciously push it away. By becoming inwardly congruent with success, by allowing yourself to feel worthy of ease and progress, you remove this conflict. Effort becomes focused instead of scattered, patience replaces anxiety, and timing improves without strain. When you stop chasing success and start embodying the qualities that allow it, discipline becomes natural, creativity flows, and resilience strengthens. Success no longer feels like a prize you must win, but like a natural extension of who you are. In this state, results arrive as confirmation rather than compensation, reflecting an inner readiness that has already been established. Most people believe that success is created primarily through action, strategy, and effort, yet these outward elements only produce lasting results when they arise from inner alignment. Inner alignment refers to the harmony between what you believe, what you expect, and how you see yourself. When these inner elements are contradictory, effort loses its effectiveness. A person may work tirelessly, yet feel blocked, delayed, or repeatedly disappointed, not because the work lacks value, but because the inner foundation does not fully support the outcome being sought. What you hold as true within yourself silently directs your external experience. If there is an inner belief that success is difficult, unsafe, or reserved for others, that belief shapes perception and behavior in subtle ways. Opportunities may be overlooked, decisions may be delayed, and confidence may waver at crucial moments. These inner signals communicate uncertainty to life, and life responds with inconsistency. Alignment, on the other hand, creates coherence. When belief, expectation, and identity move in the same direction, action gains momentum and clarity. Inner alignment also determines emotional stability. Without it, success feels fragile. Even when progress occurs, there is fear of loss, comparison with others, or constant pressure to maintain results. This emotional tension drains energy and clouds judgment. When alignment is present, emotions settle. There is a sense of steadiness that allows challenges to be faced without panic and achievements to be enjoyed without attachment. This emotional balance makes sustained success possible. The power of alignment lies in its quiet influence. It does not announce itself through dramatic effort, but through consistency and right timing. Aligned individuals often appear calm, focused, and purposeful. Their decisions feel natural rather than forced. This is because they are not fighting themselves internally. When inner resistance dissolves, energy that was once wasted on doubt and fear becomes available for creativity and decisive action. Inner alignment also reshapes motivation. Instead of being driven by the need to prove worth or escape lack, motivation becomes an expression of inner clarity. Work feels meaningful rather than exhausting. Persistence becomes easier because it is supported by conviction rather than pressure. In this state, setbacks do not feel personal, they are seen as information rather than failure. This perspective allows quick adjustment instead of emotional withdrawal. When inner alignment determines outer results, success is no longer unpredictable. Patterns of growth replace cycles of effort and disappointment. Life begins to respond with synchronicity, support, and opportunities that match the inner state being expressed. This is not coincidence, but correspondence. The outer world simply reflects the order or disorder that already exists within, making alignment the true source of sustainable success. Inner alignment determines outer results because life responds to the direction and consistency of consciousness more than to visible effort. When the inner world is fragmented, when beliefs, emotions, and intentions are pulling in different directions, actions lose their power even if they appear disciplined and well planned. A person may say they want success, yet inwardly expect disappointment, fear exposure, or feel unworthy of ease. These unspoken agreements shape behavior in subtle ways, influencing tone, timing, confidence, and persistence, which then shape outcomes. Alignment begins with the relationship you have with yourself. If your inner dialogue is filled with pressure, comparison, or self-correction, your energy becomes divided. You may take action, but part of you is watching for failure, judging progress, or doubting the result. This internal observation weakens focus. When alignment is present, attention becomes whole. Thought, emotion, and intention support each other, and action carries a quiet authority that does not need constant reassurance. Outer results are also affected by how you emotionally relate to effort. When alignment is missing, effort feels heavy. There is impatience with timing and frustration with process. This emotional resistance often leads to inconsistency, burnout, or impulsive decisions. Aligned effort feels different. It is steady rather than rushed. Even when challenges arise, there is less emotional drama around them. This steadiness improves judgment and allows learning to happen without self-attack. Another way alignment shapes results is through perception. Inner beliefs act like filters, determining what you notice and what you ignore. If you expect struggle, you will notice obstacles more than openings. If you expect support, you become sensitive to opportunities that others overlook. This is not imagination but attention. What you consistently attend to grows in influence, and aligned attention naturally moves toward constructive options. Alignment also influences how others respond to you. People unconsciously sense coherence. When someone is inwardly settled, their words carry weight, their presence feels reliable, and trust forms more easily. This affects collaboration, leadership, and opportunity flow. Misalignment creates mixed signals: enthusiasm followed by hesitation, confidence followed by withdrawal, which confuses both the individual and those around them. As inner alignment strengthens, results begin to feel less accidental. Progress unfolds in a sequence that makes sense, not because life becomes easier but because resistance is reduced. Energy once spent managing inner conflict becomes available for creativity, clarity, and persistence, allowing outcomes to reflect the order that has already been established within. When consciousness changes, circumstances do not need to be forced into new shapes. They rearrange themselves naturally to match the new inner orientation. What you consistently hold as real within your awareness quietly determines how life organizes itself around you. This is why lasting change rarely comes from trying to fix external conditions alone. Without a shift in consciousness, the same patterns reappear in different forms, teaching the same lessons again and again. Consciousness is the lens through which experience is interpreted. Two people can face the same situation and produce entirely different outcomes, not because the situation is different, but because the meaning assigned to it is different. When awareness is limited by fear, lack, or anticipation of loss, circumstances seem restrictive and heavy. When awareness expands into trust, clarity, and inner assurance, the same circumstances reveal openings, resources, and possibilities that were previously invisible. As consciousness changes, reaction changes. Instead of responding emotionally to pressure, delay, or uncertainty, there is a growing ability to observe without panic. This shift alone alters outcomes because emotional reactions often escalate problems or distort judgment. Calm observation allows appropriate action to arise at the right time. When reaction softens, conflict loses momentum and situations begin to resolve with less effort than before. Circumstances also rearrange because behavior becomes more aligned without conscious strain. You begin to make different choices, speak with different tone, and hold different expectations, not as a technique, but as a natural expression of your inner state. These small shifts accumulate. Conversations take new directions, decisions carry clearer intent, and boundaries form without aggression. Life responds to this coherence by presenting environments that reflect it. Another subtle change occurs in timing. When consciousness is impatient or fearful, timing feels off. Efforts are rushed or delayed, leading to missed opportunities or unnecessary struggle. With a shift in awareness, patience emerges, and with patience comes accurate timing. Actions land more precisely, and opportunities feel less forced. This sense of right timing gives the impression that circumstances are arranging themselves in your favor, when in truth your awareness has become receptive to the natural order of events. As consciousness stabilizes, attachment to outcomes loosens. This does not reduce effectiveness, it increases it. When you are not emotionally entangled with results, you are more flexible and responsive. You can adjust without self-blame and persist without desperation. Circumstances respond to this freedom by becoming less resistant. Obstacles soften, solutions appear, and paths open that were previously blocked by tension. The rearrangement of circumstances is not mystical or accidental. It is the external echo of an internal shift. As the inner world becomes ordered, clear, and receptive, the outer world reflects that order, clarity, and openness in forms that feel natural and timely. True success does not originate in constant movement, noise, or outward assertion. It flows from an inner center that is clear, still, and grounded. Stillness is often misunderstood as passivity, yet it is from stillness that the most precise and effective action arises. When the mind is quiet, it is not empty, it is receptive. In that receptivity, clarity forms without effort and direction emerges without confusion. This inner clarity becomes the source from which successful action naturally unfolds. When a person lives in constant mental activity, reacting to pressure, opinions, and expectations, their actions are fragmented. Energy is scattered across worry, planning, and self-correction. In this state, effort increases but effectiveness decreases. Stillness gathers this scattered energy. By pausing inwardly, the mind stops competing with itself. Thought aligns with intention and intention aligns with action. This alignment creates a sense of inner authority, not based on dominance or control but on certainty and coherence. Inner authority is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing without needing approval. It is not loud or defensive. It does not rush to prove itself. This authority allows decisions to be made without excessive justification and actions to be taken without fear of judgment. When authority arises from stillness, it is steady rather than rigid. It adapts without losing direction and responds without becoming reactive. Clarity born from stillness also improves perception. Instead of seeing problems as threats, they are seen as information. This shift reduces emotional interference and allows intelligence to operate freely. Many mistakes are not made because of lack of skill, but because of mental noise. When noise subsides, perception sharpens. You begin to notice subtle cues, timing, and relational dynamics that were previously overlooked. These insights guide action more effectively than force or persistence alone. Success flows from this state because life responds to coherence. When thoughts, emotions, and actions are aligned, the energy behind effort is clean and undivided. This makes communication clearer, leadership more natural, and creativity more accessible. Others sense this coherence and respond with trust and cooperation. Opportunities gravitate toward those who appear inwardly settled because stability signals reliability. Stillness also strengthens resilience. When challenges arise, the inwardly grounded person does not collapse into emotional reaction. There is space between the event and the response. In that space, choice exists. This capacity to respond rather than react preserves energy and prevents unnecessary conflict. Over time, this composure compounds into consistent progress. True success is sustained not by constant exertion, but by returning repeatedly to this inner center. From clarity comes right action, from stillness comes strength, and from inner authority comes a form of success that is not dependent on external validation, but is expressed naturally through balanced, purposeful living. Resistance and fear often operate quietly beneath the surface, shaping outcomes without being directly acknowledged. Many people believe they are blocked by lack of opportunity, resources, or support, yet the deeper obstacle is usually an inner refusal to fully allow success to take root. Resistance can appear as procrastination, overthinking, perfectionism, or constant self-correction. Fear may hide behind logic, caution, or endless preparation. Together they create a subtle barrier that no amount of effort can break through. Fear is not always dramatic. It is often subtle and reasonable sounding. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of being seen, or fear of change can coexist with ambition. A person may consciously desire growth while unconsciously fearing the responsibility, visibility, or loss of identity that growth brings. This inner conflict sends mixed signals into action. One step forward is followed by hesitation, doubt, or withdrawal. Progress slows not because success is unavailable, but because it feels unsafe at an inner level. Resistance drains energy more effectively than lack of ability. When a person is resisting internally, simple tasks feel heavy and complex tasks feel overwhelming. Motivation becomes inconsistent. Inspiration appears briefly and disappears quickly. This cycle creates frustration and reinforces the belief that success is difficult. In reality, the difficulty is not the task, but the inner tension surrounding it. Once resistance softens, energy that was previously blocked becomes available again. Fear also distorts perception. It magnifies risk and minimizes capacity. Opportunities are seen as threats and growth is interpreted as pressure. This distortion leads to conservative choices that protect comfort rather than expand potential. Over time, these choices shape a life that feels smaller than what is possible. The tragedy is not failure, but the quiet abandonment of possibility due to unexamined fear. When resistance and fear are acknowledged rather than fought, their influence weakens. Awareness alone begins to dissolve them. As fear is seen clearly, it loses its authority. It no longer controls behavior from the background. The nervous urgency to control outcomes relaxes, allowing natural intelligence to guide action. Effort becomes cleaner and more direct, without the need to constantly manage emotional reactions. Success requires receptivity. It cannot enter where there is constant guarding. When fear relaxes, trust increases. This trust is not blind optimism, but a willingness to move without needing absolute certainty. From this state, action becomes more fluid and responsive. Mistakes are no longer threatening, and learning accelerates. The removal of resistance does not eliminate challenges, but it changes the relationship to them. Challenges are met with presence instead of avoidance. This presence prevents small difficulties from becoming major obstacles and allows progress to continue steadily without emotional exhaustion. Most people are taught that success is the result of constant striving, effort, and control, yet endless striving often creates the very tension that blocks progress. When a person is always pushing, forcing outcomes, or measuring every step, the inner state becomes contracted. This contraction limits perception, exhausts energy, and narrows possibilities. Receptivity, by contrast, expands awareness and allows life to cooperate rather than be wrestled into submission. Becoming receptive does not mean becoming passive or abandoning discipline. It means releasing the belief that everything must be controlled for progress to occur. When receptivity is present, effort becomes intelligent instead of compulsive. Actions arise from listening rather than reacting. This shift allows you to recognize when to move forward and when to pause, which prevents wasted energy and unnecessary struggle. Striving often comes from distrust. There is an underlying fear that if effort is reduced, nothing will happen. This fear keeps the mind in constant motion, scanning for threats and outcomes. In this state, intuition is drowned out by noise. Receptivity quiets this noise. As mental tension softens, intuition becomes accessible. Decisions are made with greater accuracy because they are informed by awareness rather than urgency. Receptivity also changes how opportunities are received. When you are striving, you may overlook support because it does not arrive in the expected form. You may reject help, collaboration, or new directions because they do not match your rigid plan. A receptive state allows flexibility. You recognize value where you once saw distraction. This openness increases the range of possibilities available to you. Another hidden cost of striving is exhaustion. Constant pushing depletes emotional and physical resources, leading to burnout or disillusionment. Receptivity restores balance. It allows effort to be renewed naturally instead of forced artificially. When rest and action are allowed to alternate, endurance increases and progress becomes sustainable. Receptivity also softens the relationship with uncertainty. Instead of resisting the unknown, there is a willingness to move with it. This does not remove risk, but it reduces fear. With reduced fear, learning accelerates and adaptation improves. Setbacks become adjustments rather than failures, and momentum is maintained even through change. Power is often mistaken for force, but true power is responsiveness. When you are receptive, you respond to life as it unfolds rather than attempting to dominate it. This responsiveness creates alignment between inner state and outer movement. From this alignment, success flows more smoothly, not because effort has disappeared, but because it is guided by awareness instead of pressure. Success is not a distant reward reserved for a fortunate few, nor is it something that can be forced into existence through endless effort. It is a natural response to the inner state you choose to live from each day. As awareness shifts, alignment deepens, resistance softens, and receptivity grows. Life begins to reflect that inner order in visible ways. What once felt like struggle gradually gives way to clarity, right timing, and purposeful action. When you stop chasing success and start becoming the kind of person who can hold it with steadiness and trust, success no longer feels fragile or temporary. It becomes an extension of who you are rather than something you are trying to secure. By cultivating inner stillness, releasing fear, and allowing guidance to arise naturally, you create the conditions in which progress flows without strain. In this way, success is not achieved by force, but revealed through alignment, and it continues to unfold as long as you remain faithful to the inner work that made it possible.